You told everyone you never wanted a daughter? Did you say that in front of your daughter? That can cause so much psychological damage. Happy apple picking day! For our new friends that have no idea what I'm talking about, quick recap. People submit stories to my subreddit r/amIthebadapple with stories where they don't know if they acted appropriately or not. Every Tuesday on apple picking day, we pick 4, we read them, and we kind of decide for ourselves. Do we think they were a good apple, a bad apple, a crab apple? Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, and that is just life. We all come from different branches of the apple tree, so we're all gonna have different experiences and different perspectives to kind of guide those opinions. We talk civilly down in the comments, and it stays civil, or no one's gonna wanna hear your opinion. That's just kind of life. No one wants to listen to someone screaming or being mean to them. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking. Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for talking about mental health issues in a public Discord server? I was talking about some of my mental health issues in a Discord server, and the mods told me not to talk about it there. I guess it was one of the rules that we're not supposed to talk about stuff like that, and I get they were just doing their job. And I also guess I get that mental health can be a sensitive topic for many, but I feel like it should be public and not hushed up. People don't often talk about mental health issues to other people, and they just bottle it up until it's too late. I personally think mental health is way more important than physical health. Sometimes it can be really hard for me to bring up mental health issues in person to my family, so I just express it to strangers online. And if the strangers online are telling me they don't care to hear about my issues, why would my family care? Mental health isn't something you can get out of by yourself, you know? But when people are constantly telling you,
"We don't care, stop talking about it,"
it makes it really hard to deal with. So I just need to know, was I the bad apple for bringing it up? Here's something that I think a lot of people online don't really understand, okay? In my experience, and I have a lot of it, okay? I have a Discord server, I have a Reddit page, I have countless DMs for people, and a lot of people online don't seem to understand that expressing your mental health just out of the blue can kind of be perceived as trauma dumping. There's a big difference between talking to your friend who just so happens to be online and having like a conversation about things that are going on, and going into a public server and dumping a lot of heavy stuff on people who were not prepared to deal with that. I mean, that's the whole reason that things like trigger warnings come up. It's like, warn people, hey, this is about to get really heavy. And you know, when people are just kind of having casual chat conversations with their friends, it can be a lot to all of a sudden have someone trauma dump onto you. Now I can already hear the keyboard warriors. I can hear them already typing. Shh.
Rebecca, are you saying you don't care about helping people with their problems?
I'm saying that random strangers online aren't qualified to help you with your problems. Yes, mental health is so important and it should be taken seriously. No, not every random stranger on the internet is a qualified professional. Yes, some people do need help to get through their mental health problems with trained professionals, therapists, psychiatrists, not random 12 or 16 or even 20, 25-year-olds on the internet. Like, they don't know, they're not qualified. They don't have the training, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the education. On my Discord server that I have, I specifically will not allow an advice channel, because everyone keeps asking, we want advice, we want advice. No, because that's not safe. There is no reason that someone who's not a trained professional, who does not know you in real life, should ever be giving you advice on how to deal with your personal mental health issues. That can be dangerous. Which is why I know many Discord servers do not allow that kind of stuff. It's a liability. It's not safe. So for you to know that's against the rules, because you put it—
Oh, I know it's against the rules. I know they're only doing their job.
Well, you knew it was a rule, and you chose to do it anyways because you felt like your opinions and your needs outweighed the rules of the server. That's not the right thing to do. Yes, mental health is very important, which is why it should be handled properly. And this is not the proper way to handle it. So I am going to go bad apple because you're breaking rules that you know are there. You're asking untrained strangers to just listen to your problems even though you know it's not the space and they're not the right audience for this. And to be quite honest, that one statement that you made just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, if random internet strangers don't want to hear my problems, why would my family?
Because the random internet strangers don't have a vested interest in you as a person, but your friends and family in real life would. And now I'm not saying that you can't have friends online, okay? Avery and I are part of a Discord server that we play games with them every night. I love them. They are my true friends. Yes, you can have friends online. Just because you don't hang out in person doesn't mean you're not real friends. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you're talking about, oh, well, these strangers on the internet don't want me to vent about my personal problems, well, yeah, that makes sense. If I'm sitting and playing video games with our friends and someone were to just come in and talk about some really heavy things that they were dealing with, yeah, I want them to feel better. But I would then feel very uncomfortable sitting and having fun with my friends while this person is dealing with something so serious. It's not the time or place. If there's a server that I went in specifically to hang out with my friends in, but I couldn't because every time we went in, all of a sudden there was just heavy stuff and no one could do anything casual or light and no one could really have fun because there's always a problem and always a serious issue and it always just weighed heavy down on my psyche, I just wouldn't go to that server. I hope you guys kind of see my point of view. I feel like there's going to be a lot of young people that really don't understand some of those nuances who get very upset and offended by that. That is my point of view. I'm going bad apple. Not that making you need help with your mental health issues makes you a bad apple, but trauma dumping on strangers, breaking rules to trauma dump on strangers, that just feels very wrong. And it's totally up to you if you feel comfortable or not going to your family about these issues, but I don't think it's appropriate to compare random strangers who don't know you and don't have a vested interest in you to your family members. And you don't necessarily have to go to your family members, but there's no comparison, And I hope you and anyone else who might be dealing with these kinds of issues do find people that you feel comfortable talking to who can actually help you, but it's not the public Discord server that specifically disallows that kind of thing. That's not the place. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for telling my friend she needs to shave? My 29 female friend, let's call her Emily, 32 female, is an amazing person. She's fun, adventurous, intelligent, super active, a fantastic cook, outgoing, and just a great girl to be around. A few years ago, she decided to not shave anymore. Her legs, armpits, female areas, all of that, all out of protest of the patriarchy, resulting in her having very long, dark hair everywhere. A few days ago, we were having a beer, and she told me how sad her dating life was. That she kept meeting guys and having great first dates, but never got a call back, or when she tried asking for a second or third date, just got rejected in a very generic manner. Now, after telling her, "You're so gorgeous and wonderful and the right man will come, don't worry," multiple times, I decided to go out on a limb and said something different. Something more along the lines of,
I know this is a very superficial thing to say, but do you think it might help a little if you would shave?
Emily was very taken aback by that, and she said she was disappointed that I would suggest she change her appearance for men, and that I was the reason so many women were oppressed. I immediately apologized, but the evening was pretty much ruined. I texted her the next day apologizing again for hurting her, but she didn't respond. I really didn't mean to hurt her, but I just don't quite see how my comment was that bad, so I'm not sure how else to phrase my apology. So I decided to take it here and ask people how big of a jerk I'm actually being. Alright, okay, I have a lot of thoughts and I'm trying to think of how to put them into words, so tea break. One of y'all sent me this really cute mug and I just love it so much. I think I'm going to go crab apple because I understand the intent of trying to find tangible ways to help your friend, but I don't necessarily agree. And here's why. This idea of not shaving and rebelling against that kind of beauty standard is clearly very important to Emily, right? Super important. Meaning that any guy who would reject her for it just clearly isn't the one, you know? Like if he is completely against those same kind of ideals, then that isn't necessarily the kind of dude she would want for herself, you know? So like the idea of, well, if you just shave and like hide that part of you, then someone will call you back. That's not the kind of guy she's looking for, right? Now, do I think it makes you a terrible person for suggesting it? Not necessarily. Clearly, there's a little bit of judgment. Like I feel like I can hear it a little bit because at the end of the day, like you are just guessing that it's the body hair thing, right? You don't actually know. You're just assuming. But like you clearly think that this is like a thing. I don't know if I'm saying this right. You know what I mean? Like you guys know what I mean, right? This girl just judging her friend like a tiny bit. But I don't know if it's enough to like label her a bad apple. Like I think she really does want to help and she really is trying to look out for the best interest of her friend. I just don't agree how she's going about it. Like she clearly just doesn't understand this value that her friend is holding so dearly. I would have said instead, like just kind of reminded her, hey, it sucks, but clearly these guys just don't hold the same values and morals that you do. And this idea of like, you know, rebelling against these beauty standards is something that's very important to you. Would any of those guys who don't like that, would they really be the one? Because, you know, when you do have values and morals that are like not as common, it doesn't make them wrong, they're just not as common. You know, beauty standards is 100% an opinion kind of thing. But the reality is that dating pool that holds those same morals and values, it's going to be a little bit smaller. And so it's going to be harder to find people within it in this giant world. And so I think I would just remind my friend like, hey, it doesn't mean these guys aren't out there. It might just take you a second longer to find one. But won't it be just that much greater when you do and you weed out all these guys who don't hold these same values as you and like don't hold these same ideals as you? Like it'll be so great when you do find someone who does. Like kind of, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm rambling and talking in circles. So I'm gonna go crab apple. I definitely can't go good apple. I don't think anyone can convince me of bad apple because I really do think she's like trying to, even though like I know that I feel like she's got like a little bit of judgment in her, I don't think she's trying to put her friend down. I feel pretty solid in crab apple, but let me know what you guys think. I feel like there will be other opinions and that's okay, but I would love to hear what they are. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for removing a parent from the area? I, 23 female, volunteered as a referee at a middle school robotics competition earlier this year. It was the finals at the state level. A massive crowd surrounded a small 18 by 18 foot arena, and I had 3 fellow referees alongside of me. Each were overseeing 2 teams, each with 2 robots and about 3 students per robot. There were 3 final rounds, and during the first match, a parent approached the field, chatting to her child while trying to record the match. Politely, I informed her, ma'am, you can't be there, but you can record from behind the ropes to watch on the monitors nearby. She agreed, she said sorry, and moved away. However, she soon reappeared on the opposite side, walking past the ropes and standing between a competitor and a referee. I approached her and explained the rules again, guiding her back to behind the rope where she's supposed to be, but she stormed off. In the second round, she returned, inching closer and closer to the field. I tried to stop her, but she argued that she wanted to watch her child's first state competition up close and record it for the family. I reiterated the rules and showed her alternative recording spots, but she insisted on a close view. Seeing she wasn't listening, I issued a warning and read aloud from the rule book about interfering consequences. I read word for her that if you are not one of the 3 students competing, interfering with a match such as talking, gesturing, or just crossing the barrier permitted could result in removing the person from the competition or disqualifying the whole team altogether. Reluctantly, she agreed to the designated spot behind the rope. However, not long after, she began inching and inching and inching closer and closer and closer again. I just tried to ignore her until she began making noises at her child and got even closer, I guess trying to get their attention for the camera. I ended up just having to ask her to leave and escorted the parent out of the building, making her miss her son's victory in the third final match. Kind of felt bad about it after, but I just need to know. Was I the bad apple? No. Tea break. We've already talked about this before. I don't understand people who decide that because they have a child, rules don't apply to them or their kids, and like it's just a free-for-all. Even more so in a place where everybody has a child and everybody's trying to do the same thing. Like, you're not special. There's still rules for a reason. Like, why are you ruining it for everybody? Like, the referee literally looked at you and said, if you are breaking this rule, you could disqualify your child's team. And that parent literally said, I don't care, with her actions. Can you imagine how devastated that kid would be if he didn't get to win and was disqualified because his mom couldn't follow the rules? I'd be pissed. Your kid's attempt at a competition is not more important than anybody else's. Your time at wherever you are is not more important than anyone else's. Your kid is not you're not special, okay? Most people in this world have children. Everybody in this world is just trying to enjoy their time wherever they are. Like, you're not special. Everybody's special. Everybody's time is important. Everybody's time is valuable. Everybody's chance at a good picture or a good video is all equally important. Like, why would you ever risk your son's competition just to get like a foot closer with a video camera? That just feels so selfish. So I'm going good apple for the referee. I don't think I can be convinced otherwise at all. I can't even see why someone would have a good reason otherwise, but you know. I mean, they gave multiple chances, they explained the rules, this mom just was not having it, so I'm not against it. Get her out of there, she's causing problems. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for saying I never wanted a daughter? I have 4 sons. They're 14, 12, 8, and 4. The older 2 are biological and the younger 2 were adopted. I was at the park over the weekend with my younger 2 boys. I got to chatting with another couple and mentioned that I had 4 boys. The woman immediately said something like,
"Oh, you poor thing. I wanted a girl too, but my husband didn't want to try for a third."
And she said it right in front of them. Like my boys aren't good enough for me or something. I told her that I didn't try for a girl, and that if I wanted a girl, we could have easily put that in our adoption paperwork, but we didn't have a gender preference. They already have to field questions about being adopted. Like, they shouldn't have to feel bad for just being boys too, you know? Anyways, the lady apparently got upset about what I said and told me that I was being rude for no reason and just walked away. I spoke to my sister-in-law about it and she also felt like I didn't handle it correctly. She said she has 3 girls and 1 boy and said it's just a normal thing people comment on. She said people tell her all the time that her son's gonna be more feminine because he only has sisters, and she just shrugs it off. So I should have done the same thing. I don't know. I just really got offended for my kids, but you let me know. Was I the bad apple? No. No. Listen, I think, and I'm gonna say this, and it's so funny because for some reason it upsets a lot of people. First of all, when I say the older generation, if you feel offended, I'm probably talking about you. If you don't, I'm probably not talking about you. I don't understand why you don't get that, like, something can be true in a general generation and still not apply to every single person. Like, it's wild. I've seen a lot of complaints about it on Facebook. It's very interesting. But anyways, it is very normal for older generations to like make those kinds of jokes, but I don't think that they really understand like what it does to kids when they hear it. And this is coming from someone, so like my dad has 2 brothers, so like there's 3 of them, right? And both of the other brothers went boy girl and our family went girl boy. You think I didn't hear crap about that? About, oh, he didn't get the boy, had to try again. Like, you think I didn't get that? Like, it doesn't feel good. And for whatever reason, like these grown adults don't seem to understand that like it's hurtful, you know? It Like, how can you not understand that that's hurtful to hear for a child? And honestly, I think that's so incredibly healthy for a child to see a grown adult like take a little jab at them and see their parent immediately come to their defense and immediately defend them. Like, whether it truly hurt their feelings or not, I think seeing their dad jump to their defense is a good thing. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Oh, Gertrude got her feelings hurt. I don't care. I would rather Gertrude get her feelings hurt than the children. What is she? Is she some random lady they met at the park? Whereas this is your child. You should absolutely prioritize their feelings and their security and their comfortability over some rude lady making a comment that she shouldn't at the park. You're not gonna convince me otherwise. I feel very strong in that. I say good apple 100%. Just like the comments of, oh, you poor thing, you have all girls, or you poor thing, you have all boys, or oh, they're getting married tomorrow, let me talk them out of it. Like, I don't like those. Like, I think it's so different when it's like me and Avery have a very strong relationship, very healthy relationship. And so like, we'll make little jokes with each other, like tit for tatting about like married life. And you know, and I made that one video about like chucking him at the Dead Sea and like seeing what happens. Like, that's a clearly staged joke that like he and I decided together, that's funny, let's do that. But like a stranger who doesn't have that kind of relationship with you and doesn't have that camaraderie, like that's not a joke, that's like internal judgment and bias. Like, you know what I mean? When you don't have that relationship with somebody, it's not funny. It's different. It hits different. So I'm going to go good apple. And if you disagree, you can let me know why. I don't think you will be able to change my mind on this one, but you're more than welcome to try. Let me tell you, that story did not go where I think it was going. So I got, oh no, don't tell me. Did we get cursed? 2 good apples, a bad apple, and a crab apple. Oh, I think we got cursed. And if you are newer friends, let me tell you, we had like a 2-month streak where like I just pick these randomly. Like, I don't pick them in any order. I just like pick the first few that I'm like, oh yeah, these, like the first 4 that I find that I'm like, oh yeah, I can read these. And for a month, we got that exact curse. I thought it was never ending. Oh my gosh. Don't tell me it's starting again. We're cursed. At least I'm cursed. I don't know if you guys are. Let me know down in the comments what you guys got. As always, I don't always get to respond to everything, but I do read as much as I can. I really do. That's how I know people in the older generation are really mad when I say older generation. All right, well wishes. It's fall, y'all. I hope you guys find a nice big glass of apple cider, because it's that time of year. The leaves are starting to change. It's getting a little colder. I got to put on a sweatshirt. I was very excited about it. I hope you find a great glass of apple cider. Maybe get some apple pie with some ice cream on it. Oh, my mouth is salivating now. That sounds so good. Those are my well wishes for you for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, if you want a chance for your story to be featured on a video, you can submit it to my subreddit r/amIthebadapple. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope to see y'all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.